So Mark here from Rock and Load. On this evening, I'm joined by none other than Mr. Adam Breeze, musician to the stars, drummer to the stars, and Adam himself is heading off with Wargasm UK very, very shortly to support none other than Limp Bizkit on their US tour. Adam, how you doing, brother?
Hey man, this is a long time coming. I haven't seen you, haven't spoken to you in a while, but
Yes,
good to see your beautiful face
I
once
know.
again.
I know. I'm still alive. It's a fucking Brucey bonus, man. We were just saying there. It's probably been 4 years since we hung out.
Yeah, at least yeah.
Mental.
Time
Absolutely.
flies when there's a pandemic and
Yeah.
all of that fun.
And nobody's having fun.
Well, yeah, apart from Amazon,
Yeah. I know if I knew how to invest in cardboard boxes, I'd be a millionaire, you know.
I know, man. I know. But thank you for the kind introduction.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. So listen, let's talk everything about drums, something I know nothing about, so I'm curious about it as well. So let's get a little bit into your history as a musician. When did you start wanting to get involved in music in any shape or form, or what was it that piqued your interest?
I think people always expect me to say like I was in the kitchen and I was 2 years old and I started hitting pots and pans and I was like, nah, I decided to be a drummer. But like I started quite late with music. I kind of decided that I wanted to pursue music when I was like, I think I was 14 or something. And I started playing on like video games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, and all those rhythm based games.
Yeah.
And I started getting my first kind of like taste of rock music from those games, listening to like AC/DC and stuff. Like, oh, that's cool. And then I started getting good at it. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should try a real drum kit. So I got a real kit and then I started getting a few lessons. And then I did the usual thing of like playing in every school band I could. I didn't really care if it was like rock, if it was funk, jazz, like anything in between. I just wanted to play. And I think that was where my love of just being in bands came from, was just playing with real human beings and whatever the setting.
Yeah.
And then from then on it was just kind of setting course that I just wanted to do this. I think it's when I saw the Foo Fighters at Reading Festival in 2012, I think it was. So I just finished my GCSEs and I saw them play and I saw Taylor Hawkins and I was just like, I want to do that. I don't like nothing else. Just put the blinders on from that point, and just went for it. So
And was it always drums that was the instrument of interest?
it was. I mean, when I was really young, I played like classical nylon string acoustic guitar, and I started on that. But I wasn't really interested in that kind of side of things. I think it's when I saw my heroes like Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins kind of start. I like characters behind instruments, but I've never been like accustomed to people who can just like do these amazing things that I would never be able to dream of doing. I always like people that you look at, whether it's guitar or whatever it is, that you don't even have to, like Brian May or whoever, you don't even have to look at them. You can just hear it. So I've always just kind of been attracted to basically attention seekers, because
understandable. Now I know where it all comes from.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so tell me about the instrument itself. Like, so what is the approach for drums? Like, I'm a guitar tinker. I'm not even a great guitar player, but a tinker. But so what is the approach when you're learning an instrument like the drums? And is there anything relatable to the guitar in any shape or form, or is it a totally different discipline?
I think with drum, because it's a percussive instrument. I mean, I know obviously acoustic guitar is percussive in some ways, but
I suppose the rhythmic aspect of playing guitar is percussive, because I would probably sometimes break down the learning of a song, especially say heavy metal and thrash and stuff like that, there to the percussive element of it. So maybe in that respect, but not.
Yeah, I mean, I play acoustic guitar and I play guitar like I play drums. Like I'm very rhythmical in that sense of that style. But like, I think with drums, and same with like violin or any kind of classical, at first violin and drums sound awful when you sit behind them and you're learning. It's like it just sounds sounds crap. But once you really sit down and start getting to know the instrument, it will take a couple of years and you can play a beat and you get a groove, and it with a guitar, like, you know, I'm not knocking guitar because I can play it myself, but if someone plays a G chord or a D chord, it's like, this is a D chord, this is how you play it. That's not ever going to change. I know it might sound different from guitarist to guitarist, but if you get 10 drummers in a room to play Back in Black, for example, every single one is going to sound like completely different to the other. And I think because it is like such a percussive instrument, I kind of like that about it, that no two drummers sound the same. And I'm not saying all guitarists sound the same, all bass players sound the same, but
well, they do.
Oh wait, yeah, sorry. It's a very different discipline. Like, I find it. I mean, I find it difficult to play guitar and bass compared to drums, but that's because I've been playing drums longer. But you really have to commit to drums as an instrument to actually be really proficient at it, because there's no like shortcuts to getting good behind the drums. You have to be you just really need to know the instrument inside and out, and from that, you know, tones of the kit and what sizes the kit is and what drumsticks to use and your technique, and you know, you're using all four limbs at once, so you've got to take everything into account, not just the musicality side of things. So I think that's what I was kind of attracted to, was the physicalness of it.
Yeah. And the discipline then, so like from a practical point of view, you say you got some lessons at the start, did you? Or how long did you actually have lessons for?
I probably had lessons for about a year. I didn't have lessons that long. I wish I had. The thing is, I was talking to someone about this other day because they wanted to start learning drums, and they were like, should I get my kids lessons or should I just like let them play to records? And I was like, if you get them lessons, make sure that the first thing people are teaching them is how to like sit properly, how to hold a drumstick, how to position yourself without breaking something. Because when I started, I never really got taught that. It was kind of like, okay, this is how you do a paradiddle, or this is how you like play a Foo Fighters song or whatever, which is great. But the physicality side of things, I was never taught that. I was never taught to be like, okay, you need to sit up, you need to have your shoulders back, you need to breathe, you need to relax. And only over the last like maybe 2 years, I've actually learned that side of things. A guy called Dave Elich, like he teaches like everyone, but he teaches people how to use your body in a way with drums that isn't destroying, you know, everyone's like this, or everyone's got some weird kind of thing. And I had an injury maybe like 4 years ago. It was when we just came off the Kiss tour with RavenEye, and I had something going on with my shoulder, and it was coming off stage. I just couldn't feel my right shoulder. I was like shaking my arm out. Just couldn't feel it. And I just said to myself, I need to sort my diet out. I need to sort everything from ground one again. I had to like rebuild my you know, knowledge of actually knowing how to play drums, but in an economical way, if that makes sense. Like learning.
I think as you say, that there is a discipline, I suppose, to any instrument, and if you go in blind, then you can quite easily pick up bad habits. And you know, I was actually at Dream Theater last night. They played Belfast, and so like John Petrucci would stand at the front of the stage and he'd have his foot up on a plinth, for example, and his guitar is always like really angled, and it's almost like a classical player, that sort of classical sitting pose. And for him, I suppose, with all the work that he's doing on the guitar, it probably makes his life so much easier than walking up and down that stage trying to do that work as well, because, you know, it just makes it impossible. Like the Satch guys and all those guys are different, approach it differently. But I think maybe with Petrucci being so technical, especially throughout all the songs, that it's something he has to concentrate on, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the weird thing is that like so many people I meet who play like insanely hard, or they just play insanely fast, and you ask them like, oh, what do you work on your body, and like, do you work out or blah, 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 and they're like, no, like I just drink beer and eat pizza and stuff. And I'm like, oh, have you ever had like, does your arms hurt after shows? And they're like, no, like I'm fine. And it's really weird because like you would think by watching those guys that, you know, like Dave Grohl or whoever, they're hitting so hard, you're like, there's got to be something wrong. But I think it's it's like your hearing or anything. I think everyone's kind of levels gradually go, or they never go. And I think, yeah, it's strange watching other players, you know, guitarists, bass players, vocalists as well. I've known people who go on tour, do 3 shows, like Ollie, for example. Like, he'll do a couple of shows and his voice will just go. And he's been training it for weeks, but it's just something that you've got to just build tolerance. But some people can, like Lemmy or whoever, can just chug a bottle of whiskey, go on stage and nail it every night. And there's no...
I suppose it sometimes isn't the performance aspect is a little bit different than obviously rehearsal as well. And so, you know, I think sometimes it's like that pressure of like I always like singing, for example. It's like a pressure cooker, like somebody lifting the lid off. Like, you know, when you're actually there in the front of a crowd and on stage and you're trying to belt out a note, it's like having that control. It's a totally different discipline doing it live than obviously in a rehearsal studio when you're just nailing it time and time again. So you're probably given so much more with adrenaline when you're actually doing it live.
Massive. And I realized that over the last couple of years. I you know, I'd be practicing in here or wherever with the bands and stuff, and I'm like, but the thing is, I don't think I want to practice like I perform now.
Yeah.
It was ages ago. I was just like, like, this is fine. Then you hit the stage, and because the adrenaline's so high, you just start swinging harder. And I've had front of house guys be like, you were so much louder, like twice, triple the loudness at a show when you were in sound check.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And so I just make sure that I'm practicing so I can be on, you know, practice to be on stage kind of thing.
Are there any tools for that, for example, in like pressure sensitive pads or anything that you can practice with to give you that feedback or anything?
I think the best thing is real drums. If you can have a real drum kit, like I'm lucky enough to have a real kit to play on, then I think like that's a big help. I think electronic.
Your parents must love you, like.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is with my neighbors and even my parents and stuff. Like, me and my dad built this place ages ago. It's like built for 12-year-old me, so I can't really stand up in it. But like, my neighbors always comment on no one's ever been like, shut the hell up, this is annoying as hell. They've always been like, oh, you sounded really good today, or you didn't sound that good today. So I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Well, so it's kind of like propelled me to get better, and they go, oh, you sound great today, or whatever, you know. So I mean, I'm very, very, very lucky to have a space like this. But I think if I didn't have a space like this, well, I mean, even when I didn't have a kit, I would just play on like pillows or stuff that didn't have any rebound, because I think that's if you're trying to be like a rock drummer or someone who plays with like conviction and plays hard every night, stuff with loads of rebound, like those electronic pads, are quite dangerous, because when you hit a drum, it's not really coming back at you. I mean, the energy obviously is, but it kind of just comes down, and you naturally let it come back. But with those pads, it's so like dramatized. It's sometimes a bit dangerous, but I think, I don't know. I think it's just years of playing to records on like on pillows in my bed, and so when I come to a kit, I'm not like, I just know what it's going to feel like, kind of thing.
Yeah. And do you think, like, if you had have kept lessons going or approached your learning process differently, do you think you'd be in a different place today?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I think I would still have the same blueprint as a player. I think I would still be me, but I think I'd probably be able to take care of myself a bit more than I did. But the thing is, I think everything comes in waves, because when I was touring however many years ago compared to now, like, I make sure now I'm drinking 3 liters of water a day and I'm eating my greens and all that. But like, you know, a couple of years ago, I would just come off stage and be like, right, 6-pack of beer, pizza, get freaking wasted, and then go back in the van and then drive, and, you know, not sleep properly, or all of that stuff when you're younger.
Yeah.
That I want to be like an athlete behind the kit, because I know, like, for example, you know, the passing of Taylor Hawkins, like, rest in peace, but that's his ethos. That's what it was. It was like, I want to make sure that I'm playing drums. I mean, he's 50, like, and he still played like he was 22, 23, like
Yeah.
with that conviction. So yeah, it's definitely a wake up call for sure.
Yeah. And when did you notice sort of a shift in progress then in your own actual playing, that you sort of said, like, I can do this, you know, I can move forward, maybe make a career out of this?
I think it's when I joined like my first ever touring band, this band called Dead, which was like 2016 or something. I had a band before that as well, but I think it's when I started playing with other rock musicians in the scene that people kind of were drawn to me, not just as a player, but as like a human being behind the kit that's like, oh, he has that style. And so I kind of started trying to find my niche as a player. And I think people got attracted to that instead of just like, there's so many drummers that is like waiting for the bus look like, come on, I just want to go home. And I've never ever been like that. I've always been like, okay, everyone's paid money to be here. It doesn't matter who is looking at you. Put on a show and put it on like it's your last show ever. And I think I just realized at that point, I was like, well, if I just do that, then I'll be successful. I'll be a successful musician at the end of the day because I've gone out what I want, you know, try to achieve.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just started joining bands and playing like I did, and then it kind of just, I don't know. I think I was watching one of your other interviews. I can't remember who it was, and it was like, oh, it was Dead Romantic Guys. That was it.
Oh yeah.
And you described me as a musical prostitute, and like it's so true. No, but like it's, you know, it's I think when I started, I know obviously I've been RavenEye for a long time, but my goal was just to play with anyone and everyone, because there's so many experiences that can come from that, instead of just being like, I'm this guy and I'm going to play in this band forever. Like, unless you join Pearl Jam or something, like the chances are very slim days with that kind of stuff. So yeah, just want to play. Really.
And the obviously you mentioned joining Dead. Was that Sam's band then before Wargasm?
Yeah, I get a lot of questions like how I got the Wargasm gig, because everyone just thought it was like, how did you get that kind of thing? And it was for a mutual, you know, friend, which is obviously Sam. And that was his first band that I joined.
And what year was that when you were working back in Dead?
That was 2015.
Okay, just before RavenEye then, really?
Yeah, so I was in Dead for about a year and a half, and then I got the offer from the RavenEye guys, and I was like, this is way suited to me. And I wasn't really part of the band with Dead; it was kind of just a session thing. But yeah, so I've known Sam. Like, it's funny because our touring crew now in Wargasm, apart from one guy, I've known Sam the longest. Like, and it's weird to say that, but yeah. So he called me maybe like a year ago for the gig, and he was just like, our drummers quit, and I didn't want to call anyone but you because I know you can do it, and if you're free, let's do it. And there wasn't anything really going on with my side of things, so I just said yes. And I recorded on the first Wargasm EP, which is all live drums, and that was a couple of years ago as well. So I made the connection with Milky then. And yeah, I mean, me and Sam have always, when I came out of Dead, I think he was the only guy that kind of was like, just go and do your thing. Like, he wasn't
fly
yeah.
Adam, fly.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. No, but he was very admirable about it, and we still have big respect for each other. I think he gave me my first opportunity to really tour as a musician, and I have a lot of respect for him for that. And I think that's why I've lasted so long in Wargasm, because there's that kind of mutual respect. Yeah. And we bounce off each other musically. So yeah, that's how I know I've known Sam for a long time.
And then the RavenEye project came along, as you say, 2016-ish. And did you record on the Nova? Was that yourself?
No, that wasn't me. That was a guy called Gunnar Olsen, who was a session guy.
That was a guy New York or something, was it? Or
yeah. He's insane. He's insane. So I basically joined when they were doing press for Nova.
Okay.
So I remember they were in France, like doing press and stuff, and I was like, I did the audition. I kept bothering them. I was like, can you let me know, because I've got to like book gigs with Dead and stuff like that. And they were like, yeah, we'll let you know, blah blah. And yeah, and then they came back from press, and Ollie called me and was like, yeah, you've got it. learn. And I hadn't heard the record, so he sent me the record kind of early and was just like, learn all of these songs. We're going. I think the first thing we did was a festival in like South America. Bearing in mind, I'd only toured like maybe some tiny bit of Europe. That's the furthest I'd kind of gone. Like obviously it's for the UK. So when they were like, we're going to South America and we're playing with like Marilyn Manson and Rammstein and stuff, I was just like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Convince me, I'll do it.
And so what is it like then as a drummer being handed somebody else's music and being told to learn that? So I can imagine obviously the guitar, there's a little bit of freedom and stuff in the way you interpret stuff, but is it more disciplined and structured than as a drummer?
When I was younger, when I joined RavenEye, my ethos at that point was like, I'm the drummer. I know I'm going to play what I play, and I don't give a shit about
three divas in one band.
Yeah. So, and I was like, I'm just going to be me. And then I realized, like, after a couple of playthroughs, I was like, what am I doing? And I remember getting advice from the previous drummer, Kev, and he was like, do not play anything apart from what's on the record. So I was like, okay, fine. So I played it exactly how it was on the record. And then when we got to rehearsals, Aaron and Ollie were like, whoa, that's amazing. Now add your own stuff.
Okay.
So I was very lucky in that sense that someone kind of, because before that, I was just like, I'm just going to play whatever I want it. Yeah, remember, like, you're hiring me, God damn it, kind of thing. That was a big, big learning curve.
Yeah.
And from then on, like everything that I'm thrown now to learn, whether it's Wargasm, whatever band it is, I just respect that music and I respect whoever's playing on it, just play their parts. And now I'm playing stuff live with Wargasm. I'm adding stuff and Sam's like, what's that? What did you just do? And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to be fired. Oh shit, what have I done? And he's like, no, that's really cool. Like, do that and do this and I'll maybe try this. So I think if you start from that foundation of just like respect music, learn the parts, you can't go wrong with that.
Work off the blueprints initially and then see where it leads you, really.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the RavenEye journey, then we were just talking about it very briefly, but you guys had some really, really big highs with that couple of years. It was an amazing time for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was when I joined, it was just like a whirlwind of things that just happened that I just only dreamed of doing. Like, as cliche as it sounds, as a kid at that point, I was just like, we were going to South America and we supported like Aerosmith and Kiss and Bush and like all these bands that I'd grown up listening to and playing arenas and all this crazy like rock star bullshit that I didn't think existed was actually happening. And I got to meet Gene Simmons and all this crazy shit. And yeah, I mean, I'm so lucky that all of those kind of occurrences. And then we started doing our own tours and started getting our own fan base and people were singing the lyrics to our songs. And that was, a massive changing point in my life, because I was just like, oh, okay, I might be able to do this. Maybe I shouldn't go work at McDonald's kind of thing. So
and like obviously we were sort of talking about it like just prior to the pandemic, as I say, you guys were really on the up. You had done so much and put so much work in and it was all paying off, and then it was time to record the next album and things just started to get a little bit rocky at that stage then, because you had a record deal and then it didn't. And what sort of panned out at that time? What can you talk about that happened as part of life of being in a band and living through this?
I mean, the main thing that happened at that point the thing that sucks about all of it, and I know that a lot of RavenEye fans don't know about what has gone on behind the scenes, but the thing that sucks is that we have this record that, for me, it's the first record that I've played on with RavenEye. It's my drums, and it's been mixed, it's been mastered, and it's ready. It's ready to go. It's like a cooked pie. It's ready to go. And then COVID hit, and all of these things were kind of just being pushed back. And we were just like, oh my God, when do we do this? Because the thing is with RavenEye and most rock bands, like, you need to tour. You need to be able to support the record. And that's how we get our fan base, is the live show.
Yeah.
and we couldn't do that at that point, and some other things came up on a personal level, and it was just like this whirlwind of shit that we just weren't prepared for, and we had like all these amazing times, and then you get hit with some reality things, and it just shakes your core a bit, and you're just like, you need to kind of rekindle and try and get back to the roots of why you started doing this in the first place. So hopefully people will hear this record, because I think it's amazing. But for now, we're kind of taking a step back from the band, and just, I think we're all kind of just focusing on ourselves, as selfish as that sounds.
He's been watching too much Oprah Winfrey. You know what I mean? Sort your shit out, move on. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. It's, you know, you have all these, like, you know, speed bumps in your career, like whether that's personal or
I was talking to Ollie a while back there. As I say, we've done an interview, and he talked about his own struggles over the pandemic and the anxiety that he experienced coming off the back of recording that album, and the weight of it, really, you know, because for you guys, as you say, you've invested so much time putting everything into the band, financially, physically, you know, mentally, as you do, and have everything there completed, and then, you know, for personal reasons, he couldn't go on with it, and you know, and obviously then the pandemic just stopped everything for everybody in their tracks. So like where do you go from there once all of a sudden the brakes are pulled on without you wanting to, you know?
Yeah, it's a weird one, because obviously I know the struggles that Ollie's been going through, and when the pandemic hit, it was just another thing to just be like bang, you know. And I think, you know, you as a person are more important than anything.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, maybe not, but no, but you gotta take care of yourself before anything. Fuck the music. Like, you need to make sure that you're okay.
Your health is your wealth, as they say.
It is, and it was just we never experienced this as a band kind of thing, and it was a very weird time. And I know Ollie, I can see that he's happy in what he's doing, and I'm not going to be that guy, because I was for a long time. I was like, let's go. And he was just like, look, dude, we need to sort this shit out. And I was like, let's go. So, you know, now it's that thing of like, okay, I get it. Is it going to be the end of RavenEye? Who knows? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? Like, I wouldn't say yes. I wouldn't say no. Like, it's just something that will hopefully come back around. I really hope it does.
Reunion tour some stage, 2030 or something.
Yeah. When we're all like 70, and it'll be like, this is the last ever reunion tour, and then you do another one.
What about AA Ron? What happened to him? Like, what's the backstory there? Did he lose his green card or something?
No, I don't think. I think he's got a green card, I'm guessing. Like, so he relocated to the States. He's in the States now. I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's like fishing or playing golf. I don't know. So yeah, that contact's kind of been, I haven't really managed to speak to him for a while. Just out of, everyone's just been so busy in other things. So yeah, that he'll come back like, howdy y'all.
And the three of you, are you still good?
Yeah, I mean, we're, you know, a lot of things have happened between us that you know, there's no point of me saying on something like this, because it's just, that's not what it's about. But it's certain things happen in your life with when you're in a band for that long, and you've put all that money in, and all the time and the effort and the blood and the tears, and some things pop up with like labels or management or just like anything that can interfere, and you will all just kind of go like, well, it's your fault and blah, 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 blah.
Because we're all human, you know. At the end of the day, we're human, we're emotional, you know. And as you say, God Christ, I can't imagine what it's like, because you guys lived and breathed that 24/7. You know, I know from spending time with you and talking to you guys that the graft you put in to try and get to where you were at that stage, you know. So I'm sure like there was a few harsh words said, you know, for various reasons, for just being emotional at different times, you know. It's got to be tough.
Yeah, I think it's because we all care so much about it, and you know, like, we spent however many years doing it. It wasn't going to be a case of just like, okay, yeah, that's fine. It's like, actually, this needs to be sorted out, blah, blah, blah. So, and then the pandemic hit, and it was just like, okay, we need to just stop fighting.
Yeah.
We need to stop doing this shit, and we just need to figure out other things. And this can wait, like, you know. So yeah, who knows? Hopefully we will hear RavenEye record one day.
It would be a shame not to hear it, you know.
I'm gonna fucking leak it one day. I'll get to a point where I'm just gonna put it on fucking LimeWire and go, there you go. Everyone fucking listen to it. Yeah, no, but the thing is, we're extremely proud of it. We're really proud of it, and it just seems a waste to not be like.
Yeah, you'll turn up in a YouTube documentary someday. The album that never was, you know, the greatest album ever. You know, so
shelved.
Yeah. And how was your pandemic experience then? So, like, when all that shit happened, what did you actually do with yourself?
Male foot modeling. No. So yeah, no, it was weird to me because at that point, RavenEye weren't really doing a lot, and I was kind of like turning to like wedding gigs and cover gigs and all that stuff. Like all that.
Can't imagine you in a baby blue press suit, you know?
Yeah. So I kind of did a couple of them, and I was just like, oh, fuck this. And so I started working for an ecological company, which is like the most random. I tell people about this now, and they're like, what? Like, you know, everyone I knew who were musicians were like driving for Tesco and stuff. Like, and I went into this ecological thing, which is basically working alongside HS2 and making sure they don't cut down or destroy any like natural protected habitats of protected species in the UK. So like bats or newts, great crested newts, or like owls, certain barn owls and stuff. So I would go to a site,
chain yourself to a tree.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, in a way, but I had my camping chair and a flashlight. It's a bit different. But so, yeah, I mean, for example, like a bat survey, you'd go to a tree that would have a possible like roost that has been endoscoped, which basically means they stick a camera in there and go, oh, there's bats in there. So you go there at like either dusk or dawn, and you have a bat reader basically that when bats come out and feed, they echolocate.
You're just making this shit up now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I've been doing all my life. And then, yeah, and so I just did that for fucking a year and a bit, and I loved it. Obviously, I was doing musical things, but just to kind of like pay the bills and stuff, I did that. And when it comes back to it, I'm still going to do it because I enjoy it. So who would have thought?
Yeah. Weird and wonderful things. Yeah, true. It's good to finally meet you, the real you.
Yeah, I'm vengeance. No, but you know, it's the thing is like the humility and all of that thing. Like people will message me like, what do I do? And I was like, just get a fucking job. I don't understand why people like, especially musicians and creatives, are just so like, oh, what if I'm not doing music all the time, then I'm a failure. It's like, nah, man, I don't do what you got to do. Like,
yeah. It was interesting because I've spoke to so many musicians, obviously, from the pandemic, you know, in various interviews, and so many really struggled with their identity of not being a full-time musician, you know, and who were they? And, you know, Christ, a lot of people suffered with mental health and stuff like that there. And some people for obvious reasons, it was a real reason and a real struggle for them. And, you know, but you got to, as you say, find your roots again, just dig deep and get on with it, really, don't you?
And write some really fucking good songs because you're that unhappy, and you come out and like, I wrote this fucking
the blues
hit. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
And so coming out of that, all that happening, then so you had obviously various projects you've been working on. What was the first one you got involved in? Was it Dead Romantic?
It was actually, yeah. So the Dead Romantic thing, which was really random. I can't actually remember how. I think so. Mike, guitarist guy, he messaged me on Instagram.
I think he said your number was in some male toilet somewhere.
Yeah, it was like 69. Cool, Adam. And so he just messaged me and was just like, because at that point I said to myself, because RavenEye wasn't really doing anything. I spent loads of money converting this place. If you've seen it before, it was just a shed. Now it's kind of soundproofed and looks nice, blah, blah, blah. And I started just creating video content of like really good, solid drum performances and stuff. And I was like, I just want to be seen online by someone. And Mike was the first person to message me and be like, hey, I'm doing this. It was in like Yorkshire, but like I was like, fuck it, why not? So I went up and we did like, I was at his place a lot, like for a long time. You know, he was very kind to let me stay.
Too much information.
Yeah, well, good money. No, but like, so I did like 3 music videos for them, and yeah,
because I think that's actually where I spotted you first of all. Somebody sent me PR for the band, and I was like,
right,
what the fuck is going on with your man in the background? You know, what?
Yeah. So
message AA Ron in the States.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. The fuck, man. So yeah, that was kind of the first project that I came out of the pandemic, and I was just got my head stuck into it. And then Wargasm things started popping up, and things more local to me. Like there's another band called Taurus who were kind of like an upcoming grunge trio, and they needed a drummer as well. And I kind of was just like, I can't keep coming up here, and either I relocate or like, so there was other opportunities that at that point I kind of had to step away from it. But yeah, so that was the first thing. And then it was Taurus, which they're kind of like, they're from Milton Keynes, like kind of near where I am.
I think were they Bloodstock maybe last year?
Yeah, I think they were actually.
Yeah, I think I remember the name. Yeah.
It's spelled T-O, not like the star sign, it's T-O-R-U-S. Yeah. So yeah, they were upcoming, and they're like 18 or something stupid. Like they're really young kids. But they're amazing. Like they make really cool songs, and I just got really involved with that. And then I just remember getting a call from Sam, just like, do you want to do Wargasm stuff? And at that point, they'd just come out of the pandemic, and they were the only band I saw out of the pandemic that were kind of surviving and kind of thriving, and like being on that like kind of hype train of, oh wow, this is something cool and, you know, fucking hip. And there were so many bands. Well, RavenEye, for example, like we just came out of it like, shit, do we have a fan base? We don't even know. Like, and the Wargasm guys were so on it with video content and just everything, doing like live shows online and doing like download pilot and all that stuff, that they were really on top of it. And when Sam phoned me, I was just like, yeah, cool, I'll do it. Like, I just want to play. And one of the best decisions I've ever made, I think, because I was hesitant at first because I wasn't sure if I wanted to, you know, get involved with a band that was like, you know, on the up in terms of just being a session guy. I wanted to be part of something. Yeah. But I think all of my experiences with RavenEye, as amazing as they were, I didn't want to get involved with another project that was like the Three Musketeers again. I like, my headspace was just like, look, man, I just want to play drums. You pay me and I fucking go home. Like, I didn't want to get involved with like the red tape side of things that I was involved with quite a lot. So I was just like, different mindset. And you know, from, I think I've been with them for maybe a year now, and ever since I joined, it was just almost like when I joined RavenEye, actually, it's just been like that. So
am I right in saying they only sort of formed around 2018? Is that right?
That was the crazy thing. I remember talking to Sam about it, because he was like, oh, I've got this girl that I'm writing with, and I was like, oh, cool. He's like, we're going to do a band called Wargasm. I was like, what? What was that, Wargasm? I was like, what the fuck? And and then they just started doing stuff in lockdown and releasing singles. Like, they haven't even released a record. Like, no EP, like no records. 2 years, 3 years of doing that stuff, and they sold out. The last tour we did was all sold out, UK tour, first headline tour they've ever done, and they sold out Islington Academy downstairs, which is 800 people. Yeah. It's like, you know, with RavenEye, or we took years and years and years, and we did Dingwalls in London. That's 500 people, and that was after like 7-8 years of like grafting and fucking, you know. And I'm not saying these guys don't deserve it. It's just like, I saw something in that, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, there's something about this that's I get really attracted to, not because it's popular, but like the energy of everything is just so like, you know, clicky, which I got attracted to. So yeah, I mean, there haven't been a band in band terms that's like a baby band, you know,
especially with the pandemic obviously cutting the timeline as well, you know, 2 years out there without being able to do anything. So fair play to them.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about it, because it's just like you would think that if you're a guitar band, that pandemic would just wipe you out because you just can't play shows, you can't support your music. But they came out of it on top, and like fair play, because they've been grafting themselves, but in different ways, you know.
Yeah.
And now everything's picking up with the physical side of it with live shows, and it's just going up. So
yeah. And Milky Way, the girl, she's from Northern Ireland, I believe. Is that right?
she is. I can't remember where. She's told me so many times. I can't remember the town.
She must be really cool then, like me.
You've both got your ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how long has she been out of Northern Ireland? Is she based in England then?
She's based in England, yeah. I don't think she's actually been out that long. I think maybe a couple of years. So I think she was doing modeling before Wargasm, like me.
Yeah.
But yeah. But then so she's been based in London for quite a while now. But her accent is still, you know, as thick as yours, probably thicker actually.
Yeah, she's probably a country girl, you know. It's probably the problem.
I think she's from the town that Derry Girls is set in.
Oh yeah, well, Derry struck London, Derry then, yeah.
Yeah.
Does she sound like Nadine Coyle?
Yeah, a bit. No, I'm not. I don't know. Apparently I sound really posh. So
yeah, you do. Yeah.
Posh boy.
Essex wide boy. And so, like, are you intending in getting the studio? Is there music coming from Wargasm?
So I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I'll say it anyway. Then kick my ass. So when we did a UK tour, we did a UK support tour a couple of months ago with Neck Deep, and on the day off, we went into a studio in Manchester and recorded like 8 songs on drums, like brand new songs.
Okay, cool.
So all of those tracks will be heard in whatever fashion.
Yeah.
I know that there's a single dropping, or I don't know if it's a single, just music being released in May. Okay, cool. As announced from today. So I don't know what that'll be, but it will be me on drums. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because I think everything from the EP, I played on all the EP stuff, and then they released like Spit and like the kind of bigger numbers. That's all electronic drums. So I'm not on any of that stuff. So all the stuff now coming is going to be me, which is really cool to hear, because when you spend however long doing a record with RavenEye and it never gets released, to hear your
not
drum.
Better at all. Not better at all.
But yeah, it's more the fact of like, it's just cool hearing yourself on something commercial, and that's going to be commercially released instead of like a bedroom demo or whatever.
Yeah. And out of curiosity, when you look at or if you hear you're playing today from, say, the RavenEye days, do you notice any change or any progress in yourself, or any evolution?
I think I've become a bit more consistent with my playing in terms of my evenness of hits and things. Like when I joined Dead Romantic, all of that stuff, all that music was I'm from a background with RavenEye where it was blues based and you just swing all the time and you can kind of just like do whatever, really.
You guys swung a lot.
Yeah, and that's in many ways. But like, so the groove was always there, which I'm so lucky to have, but it was never like it wasn't precise. So I never really learned that kind of side of it. And when I joined Dead Romantic, that was kind of like, Mike was like, you need to play like this, and it needs to be almost like a machine.
It sounds like a bit of control freak.
Yeah, I mean, all fucking singers are, yeah.
Producers,
but there's got to be one.
But
so I was very fortunate to kind of learn that side of playing and kind of make sure the kick patterns were the same and all of this was correct, and it needed to be kind of like a grid, not in a non-musical way, but just to make sure that you were just
real structure to it.
Solid. And that's what I wanted to be from the beginning as a player. I was like, I just want to be a solid rock drummer. I don't want to be someone, I just want people to come to me to be like, you're solid and you're like a freight train kind of thing. And that's that Wargasm stuff live, if you ever see it live, that's all it is. It's literally just relentless. But every hit needs to be as loud as the next. It doesn't have, it can't be like, like it all has to be like that.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's how my playing is kind of adjusted. It's just, it's
more visceral.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And what's the plans? And obviously we got the US tour with Limp Bizkit then kicking off very shortly. That must be something you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I remember on that tour with Neck Deep, and our tour manager was like, I've got some news to tell everyone, but I'm not telling anyone until you're like side stage. And I was like, what the fuck is it? I was trying to wrap. I was like, what is it? Is it bad news? Is it good news? And then Milky told us. And like, I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. But however, I'm just going to say, I was never like a massive Bizkit fan when I was growing up, because I never really got into it. I was listening to like Queen and the Faces and all that stuff, and the Stones. Like, I kind of got to that late on. So I'd never went through like my emo. I'm not saying they're emo, but I never went through my phase of like
new metal and stuff like that.
Sum 41, Limp Bizkit, like the new metal kind of phase. I only got into that when I was older, like maybe like 17, 18, when I was in a rock band anyway. So I mean, I know it's going to be amazing, and I think it's such a good pairing as well. I think it's going to work really well. It's not like Wargasm and John Mayer. Like it works as a package, and it's the first time they've played in the States as well. I've played with RavenEye a few times in the States, like doing a tour and stuff, but it's their first experience doing it. I have a feeling the US is going to love them. Like, I think.
I think there's always a rose tinted glasses thing anyway when it comes to bands. So if you're a UK band, you see American band, you have this sort of higher expectation and appraisal, and then likewise, they think they really, really absorb the UK bands. They love them,
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, like that kind of like making it, because people like US bands always want to make it in the UK, and then UK bands always want to make it in the US. But it's hard for a UK band to go out to the US and be really popular. Like Queen never went. No one knew them in the US. Like, people were just like, who the fuck is this? But for example, Don Broco, they've toured the US so much that now they're more popular in the US than they are here. So I think it's very hard. I think it's harder for UK bands to be liked in the US, because the US sound of rock, radio rock, 9.5, to me it sounds the fucking same. Just everything sounds the same. So when something different comes along, I think the US are kind of like, I don't know if I like this kind of thing. Whereas like everyone here like loves like Blackstone Cherry and Hailstorm and like all those Shinedown, like all those like US rock kind of thing.
Really polished sort of rock comes from the States.
So when that non-polished rock goes over to the US, everyone's kind of like,
they're not sure what box to put you guys in.
No.
But, but I think it'll go down, as you say, really, really well live. And I'd say the Limp Bizkit crowd, although they'll be a little bit older now, would still be a bit of a mad bunch, so they'll appreciate it.
I think so. And then the cool thing about it is, because we're not obviously the only support, it's such an eclectic lineup. There's like, I think it's like a rapper and like some really heavy band. Like, obviously we're heavy, but we're kind of punky. Like, we're not like, it's still kind of like fast and melodical, etc. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to expect crowd wise. Like, there could be like 16-year-olds, there could be 70-year-olds. Like, I don't know, because they were released like in 2000. They were really popular, I guess.
Probably
kind of like
20 odd years ago anyway, at least, when they were at their height, so still a popular band, and there's still an appetite for them, and I think an awful lot of people are nostalgic anyway. They really want to see those bands that were big back in the day, so an opportunity to catch those guys live. If the ticket prices are good, I'm sure people will be jumping at it.
Yeah, I think so, man. And we fly on Wednesday, so I'm locking myself away for the next couple of days because I don't want to get fucking COVID before I fly.
Yeah, I know. It's such a funny thing. It's a gift that keeps on giving. I see guys who are doing exactly what you're doing, locking themselves away, go away for a weekend tour and come back with COVID. You know, it's just.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
have you got it at all? Have you avoided it?
I had it at Christmas. So what happened, I was like, I'm fine. I'm smooth sailing, and then got it like literally before Christmas. And that's when everyone messaged me, like literally the day after I got it. They were like, I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. I've got it. And I was like, holy shit. Because that's the thing. When the pandemic started, I couldn't name anyone who had it. I was like, who has it? I want to know who has it, like in my life, because no one has it. And then it got to a point at Christmas last year that literally everyone I knew had it. Yeah. So I haven't had it since, touch wood. But yeah, I did have it, and it did knock me out. I've been jabbed 3 times. I got the booster as well, but it did fuck me up for a day. I was like,
and there's a requirements for you guys as musicians going into the States to be vaccinated?
I don't know. I don't think so. Which is it's a different world over there.
It is. Yeah. From city to city and state to state, you know, it's a toss of a coin. What's happening? You know, it's mad.
It is. So I don't think so, but you do need to obviously prove that you're negative on the PCR before you fly.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's going to be cool. I mean, I think it's all and it's my first experience of like a tour bus tour. Like
right. Okay.
With RavenEye, it was always, we drove ourselves. We did it. It was 3 of us. So it was like, we drove ourselves. We did everything. We were always in a splitter that we called the Millennium Raven. That was our van. That was our kind of thing. We had a bunk in it. But we never really we just kind of used motels and hotels kind of thing. So this is my first
or Irish guys' houses.
Or yeah, exactly. Very, you know, well-groomed Irish and lovely dogs involved as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so it's going to be an experience to sleep in a bunk and do all that stuff and like wake up and not have a shower and stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, yeah, it's going to be rad. Like, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm delighted for you. It's great to see that it's all happening. Do you think there's any chance you guys might be across in Ireland at any stage? Might see if they're like live?
Well, the thing is, Milky is all like, probably says this in most interviews, that we need to get over to Ireland. Like, because obviously she hasn't played with the band in Ireland before. The homeland. So she's like, we need to fucking get over there. So don't worry. Like, I'm sure. I'm guessing this year.
Yeah, when things calm down with the rock star lifestyle, you'll make time for us minions in Ireland.
Yeah, and then we'll come and pet your dogs.
Yeah, sounds sweet. No problem. I'll pet your dog as well. Okay, well, look, dude, we shall leave it there. I've tortured you enough. Great catching up with you again after all these years.
Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like, it's been too long, and like, I don't know, it's just been a weird couple of fucking years, but I'm glad that
we're both at the other side.
I mean, I'm blonde now.
I know, yeah. I wasn't sure if that was grey or, you know, maybe just...
It's not fucking grey, okay? Look, I'm looking like Draco Malfoy. No, so yeah, you know, nothing's changed on the inside. Well, not much, but
yeah. Well, you're eating all your greens now. The last time I was making you fries, so you'll be looking for a fucking salad.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I want some fucking black pudding and shit next time.
Okay, dude. Well, look, I'll let you go. Thanks again, everybody. Once again, Mr. Adam Breeze.
Thanks, man.
Okay, sir. Bye. Take care of yourself. Thanks again, dude.